but we have Angela, Mark, Ram, Stephen and Lee. So Angela, introduce yourself and your business.
Hi, I'm Angela. My business is TLVA and I provide business continuity planning. So seatbelt for your business. I'm also extremely passionate about UK manufacturing and the future of UK manufacturing.
Excellent. Mr. Amphlett.
Good afternoon all. Yeah, Mark Amphlett. Spitfire Software, MRP, ERP for manufacturing and R50 marketing, specialising in marketing for manufacturing. That's me.
Excellent. Ram.
Hello everybody, I'm Ram Shankar, founder of Equitas Engineering Limited. We do turnkey engineering solutions, product development, innovation delivery and sustainability consultancy. Thank you.
Excellent. Stephen.
Steve Murphy Continuous Improvement Limited. I work mainly with big high-tech companies, supporting them on continuous improvement, usually working on systemic customer issues. I also work and sell Datalyzer software, which helps big companies implement control methods.
Excellent. Mr. Howarth.
Thank you. My name is Lee Howarth. I'm from MCNC Engineering in Bridgewater. We are subcontract precision machinists. We use digital technology and CNC machine tools to make complex components for various industries.
Excellent. And myself, Adam Payne, I have TCMUK Limited, which is a manufacturing consultancy. So we do business strategy and growth and lean manufacturing implementation and leadership training. I have TCMUK 3D, which is an additive manufacturing business. And I also have FactoryIQ, which is a operations management software, Internet of Things, all singing, all dancing operations management software. So thank you very much in joining us. So question number one, big question that we were going to discuss here is, how do we get manufacturers playing an active role in recruiting and engaging the younger generation? Angela, I'm going to let Angela kick off, because this is why I wanted to support Angela around what we're doing from the intern and what we're doing, which we'll come on to later. So Angela, your viewpoint, I know because this is your baby, and if you want to introduce it, if you want to say a little bit more about it, then please do.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, so it was something that occurred to me late last year, that there was a real issue with an Asian workforce within manufacturing, UK manufacturing, and very little engagement from manufacturers with our younger generation. And I feel quite passionate about that, because I know what a great industry manufacturing is, but the kids don't. And I really think we need to get out there and show them, but I can't do it because I'm not a manufacturer. We need manufacturers to get out there and really start to engage with our kids, show them the career choices within the industry, because there are huge career choices within the industry, and really start to attract them now, because these are our future manufacturers, this is our future workforce. It's so important. And two of the things that I've set up, which I hopefully we'll have a chat about later, are the UK manufacturing festivals and the virtual intern initiative.
Excellent. So who wants to kick off? Go on, Lee.
I'll give it a go, Adam. I'll just before Lee gets in there, because I know what Lee's like. So when I was running a manufacturing company down here in South Devon in the past, I had a vision to grow the business, and I needed the right sort of people on board to help me grow the business. But I also was very, as you know, focused on making the most out of this situation on marketing side of things. So I got involved with a local university technical college in Newton Abbot. I did presentations there. I got involved with the college in Paynton as well. The University Technical College in Newton Abbot was for engineering and science, a perfect stream for me. And I'd do as many presentations as I could. I'd invite the kids into the factory to have a look around and just explain to them it's not as dirty as everyone thinks it is. It is sexier than making apps on a mobile phone, and you've got a great career opportunity, and there's some decent money to be earned in it. So that's the angle I went on it. And I'll hand over to Lee now, because I'm sure he's got some stories of how he's done something very similar himself, I'd imagine.
Yeah, very similar. I'm quite lucky. My MD is also a massive advocate of UK manufacturing, and we were both of the same age where we had the traditional, conventional apprenticeships, covering all the STEM aspects of how to cut metal, from the mathematics side to the physics side of how different materials react in different circumstances. Unfortunately, for us, we've got a great college on our doorstep, Bridgewater and Taunton College. You've got a fantastic training facility, and we actively encourage them and liaise with them all the time. And if they've got any students that are potentially interested in coming on the course, all they have to do is pick up the phone, and we'll gladly show them around our place. We encourage students to come in and work. They got an ice cream man somewhere there, haven't we? So we encourage them to come in on work experience, and the biggest benefit of that is we do it properly. So if somebody wants to come in, they must be wanting to get into our industry, or at least interested in. So we give them a little mini interview. We ask them about their aspirations, and then the ones with the right attitude, not necessarily the right academic background, but the right attitude, we will let them come in for a week. And the way we see it, it's a week-long interview. So we move them around the business on various sectors and the 5 axes, the turning, the stores, and also a little bit in the offices. So come Friday, we know, oh my God, let's offer this lad or lad a job, because their attitude is fantastic. And we, every year we take apprentices. Now, admittedly, because of COVID, unfortunately, last September was the only year that we haven't in the last 5 years. But we're looking to do that again. And I'll be quiet a minute, but the fantastic Mrs. Angela Waller has inspired me. I'd like to announce that I rephrase that. We here in Bridgewater are also going to be holding a mini manufacturing festival of sorts, and I'm going to be doing that in the 2nd or 3rd week of July. I've got colleges on board. I've got all our suppliers, some customers, even big blue chip ones. That fantastic idea. So Angela, hats off to you. You were the one that gave me the kick up the ass, because I'm sure those of you who know me know that I'm quite vocal about things. So I decided to be less vocal and more proactive, and I've got off my arse, and we're doing something about it now. So fingers crossed, it'd be really good.
Stuff.
Superb, absolutely superbly. That is for me, and that for me, Angela, as well, is it proves that we have got to get the message out there more. Now, I know Lee's is part of the inner circle that we're in around what we do with the manufacturing TV and Nick's side and Kaizen Central, and what we do from that side. But again, it is, some of it has got to be around getting the message out there. Ron, how about yourself? I'll come to Mr. Murphy, because I know what he's like on the soapbox.
Cheers, Adam. I've just written down a list of 6 things straight away talking about it, but I won't go through all of them. I'll start with 1 or 2. I think first and foremost, we as a community, as the sector, need to change the definition of what manufacturing is. It's no longer about putting things together or taking a bit of metal from something. It is about developing products and solutions by applying engineering, machining, fabrication techniques, all of which are techniques and technologies to develop and build products and solutions for use in the real world. That's what manufacturing does. Secondly, when we talk about manufacturing and when we want to bring people in, don't just tell them you're looking for a machinist to operate that machine to do this part. You tell them you need somebody who's going to help build the next generation of submarines for the Royal Navy. Tell them you want somebody who's going to help build the next generation of clean energy generators off the coast of wherever, Scotland or Cornwall or wherever. By telling them what their bigger purpose is going to be and the role they're going to play in improving the world, you tend to attract them. Yes, what they do is going to be an insignificant part, but if you show the importance of what they are doing in the bigger picture, that gets people in straight away. So yeah, 2 things straight away.
Absolutely. Just to let you know, Stuart Cowell, I think it is, Managing Director of Gemtech, has just said, well done, Lee Howarth, great work. Thumbs up on the messages. So there you go. So, Mr. Murphy, go on.
I think when I joined manufacturing, I wasn't that impressed by it, to be quite honest. But I think one of the key. Well, no, I wasn't, because I was involved in high tech manufacturing, and there was all sorts of problems. And too often I found out that the problem could be fixed by reading the instructions on the tin. So I'm afraid that was the case. But what did we learn from that? So actually, we learned from that was to pick out all the low-hanging fruit, build continuous improvement into our manufacturing, and then really work on not just tactical things, but building strategic direction. So that's where you move to. So my point is for young people going in, as Ram says, it's part of the biggest picture, but don't think about where you start is where you will end up. There are within, if you started off and did an apprenticeship, you could move into supply chain excellence. You could move into sales and marketing. You could build a whole skill set that the manufacturing industry needs if you start off directly on the shop floor. So my point would be, think about the whole spectrum of opportunities that lie within a manufacturing organization. Find somewhere you can start, learn everything you can from that, and speak with the company, because they usually are very, very keen to nurture and develop any talent within the company, because that's how the company grows. So I would say, don't worry about where you start, think about where it can take you. And manufacturing can take you from your career. When I started off, semiconductors were 10 microns. Now they're even smaller than a tenth of a micron. So you can go from almost something comparable to a small fraction of a human hair to a few atoms big. So it will develop throughout your career, and there will always be opportunities for your basic skills. Think about where it can take you, not where you start.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even sure whether Angela is struggling with signal where she is, because it does seem to have frozen out, but I'll keep introducing her as she keeps
I am back.
out, because this is excellent. So as long as you can hear us, that's the main thing. For me, again, I think, Rom, for me, yeah, we don't sell it well at all. We don't sell it well, and we need to get better at selling it. And I think the younger generation, in my opinion, they're a little bit different. It's probably am I right in saying this? Generally, it was money and sort of like the package and things like that you would go for. Younger generation don't seem to be that. It's the experience. It's your corporate social responsibility. It's how you are going into recycling or energy and things like that. You know, Richard Hagan's got it spot on with how he does it. You know, and his drive. So there is this marketing side that we do have to get right in my opinion. So yeah, but again, is how do we get manufacturers involved with doing that?
Right. You know, I don't know if most of you saw my post from yesterday about how to create a pitch deck when you're looking for investment for startups. Let's apply the same logic. Imagine as a sector, we are preparing a pitch deck, and our target audience is not a bunch of investors or VCs, but those young people that we want to bring into the sector. How do we do it? The context on the problem, the solution we present, why we are bringing value to their lives with the solution we're bringing to them, and then who are the people behind it. Take example names of Richard Hagan, talk about Lee Howard, talk about Steve, talk about Adam, talk about all these amazing people, Barry Leahy, Nick Peters, talk about the kind of things these people have done and show them the possibilities of what they can do when they come into the sector. Let's treat it like a pitching competition and create a pitch deck for ourselves.
Absolutely right. I completely agree with that. 100%. I've been fortunate enough. I started off as an apprentice toolmaker, 30 backstreet shop, but I had a fantastic, conventional, strong background in training, which has stood me in good stead. I'm not an academic. I haven't been to university, but I've come it's all about the journey and the different paths, and that's what I want to try and get over to young people. So I'm not just calling it an MCNC Open Day. I want to call it something that's funky and appeals to the young people. And I want it to be embrace and celebrate UK manufacturing. So I've got motorsport people that kindly offered to put cars outside our conference bar, super bikes. We've got speakers from Rolls-Royce lined up. So I started off as a manager. I've been into cutting. I started off as an apprentice, I then became a supervisor. And as technology developed, I got into sales, and I was selling cutting tools, then machine tools. So I went into the shop floor to CEOs of small to the very large organizations. And what we make in the factory is bloody fantastic. Anything from, why do you think all the F1 teams are in our country? Why do you think the likes of SpaceX, Virgin Hyperloop, Blue Origin? I will bet my bloody mortgage that there will be a British engineer heading up their team. It's a fantastic journey, and we've got to teach kids to take them blinkers off and embrace their world. It's not our world anymore. We just need to open the door and let them see what they can do. And that's what I want to try and encourage.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Lee, because, you know, our young people, they're innovators. They have some amazing ideas, and we need innovators. How are we going to progress? How are we going to move manufacturing forward? How are we going to keep up with the rest of the world? We need that innovation. We need to encourage them and show them, come into manufacturing, show us what you've got. Let's, you know, go along on the ride with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, as a common theme in around what we've all spoke around. I mean, I can remember within Unipart and how we did it. We used to engage with the local girls' school there. We used to have 5 girls come in, and we used to hand them projects of a single-minute exchange of dies and things like that to get them involved. We did that every year with the engineers. So, like Mark was saying, he engaged with the local colleges, that side, Lee, with what you're doing. So, in some respects, we have got to get doing that more. But what do you think holds manufacturers back from doing that? It can't just be the point of fact they've got the day job to do, because you're doing it. You're examples of people doing it, and that people have done it.
Yeah, but Adam, don't you think it's maybe the vision of manufacturers? Lee's obviously got the vision to do that in his business, but there'll be some manufacturers out there who don't. They have the vision that they need to drive sales, they need to run machinery, they need to get the factories more efficient. They don't necessarily think about the engagement with the local community, because, you know, an engineer is an engineer, thinks about engineering and maybe not some other things. So maybe it's a cultural change that needs to take place to, you know, think about the business being, it's kind of like a generation or two ahead. You need the young people in to do that. You'll have no business otherwise.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
like Ron was saying, you know, I don't know whether Ron wants to expand on it. That's short, medium, and long-term view, when we tend to be short-termism. You know, I don't know whether Ron wants to expand a little bit more on that and his thoughts around that.
Yeah, happy to, Adam. That's one of the things I've written down anyway. You know, for example, when we interview somebody for a job, I have a feeling there is a question at the end asking them, where do you see yourself 5 years from now or 3 years from now? When I was applying for my chartership with the IMECI, I had a question that I had to answer. Where do you see yourself in 6 months, 2 years, and 5 years from today? Let's turn the logic around and apply that to SME manufacturers particularly. Let's ask them, short term, we know we need on-the-job skills. We need people to operate the machines. We need people to do technical things. That's okay, understandable. Now let's change the view or the vision to a slightly longer period, medium to long term. Medium to long term, what we need, I'll tell you why also, is we don't need people with skills or job skills. We need people with life skills. We need people with resilience, mental toughness, determination, the right attitude, critical thinking, analytical reasoning, problem solving. I can go on and on. The reason we need it is the actual hardcore skills that are needed to do the job aren't going to be the same 5-10 years from now. I didn't know when I was doing engineering 20 years ago in India that I was going to be doing stress analysis using the computer program. It was all hand calculations. So we do not know what the hardcore job skills are going to be in 10 years from now, but we know that the basic attributes of success in people doesn't change.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Mr. Murphy, you had your hand up.
Yeah. So Ram, there is a group of people amongst our young people already who are developing those skills, and typically those people will be learning stuff either in the Scout movement or the Boys Brigade, or will be following the things like the Duke of Edinburgh scheme, which actually which complement your academic skills or what craft skills or whatever skills you've got. So I'd say that there is a group of people we want. How are we attracting those people into manufacturing? Because I think we're looking at the problem too broadly. There's a lot of people who will come into manufacturing; they will sort of migrate towards it. So we've got this sort of base level, but I think we need more interrupters. We need more people who are Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award, who really come in and know how to grow personally and can do that themselves and can take other people with them. That's the combination of that personal skill with that team skill as well. So I mean, when I worked when I was involved in recruiting, it was very, very hard to find these people. If you could say, if you said to somebody just stick your degree in the bin, what did you bring? What are you bringing? I watched the football at the weekend. Or it's very hard to get out of somebody that they'd actually developed any skills that they could, to a good standard. Maybe they do embroidery or make their own clothes or whatever. What do you do to a good standard that has built these broader life skills? So maybe we're just not selling ourselves to those people. Manufacturing doesn't look interesting. So if I say to myself, did when I was directly managing, engineering manager, managing those people, did the company really rate those skills and want to develop them? And I'd say no. And if we're not, then we're not going to be attracting those people, because they'll go, I'm just going to go to an office somewhere where I can develop these skills, and I don't think manufacturing really value that almost continuous learning, not just in the technical aspects, but in the leadership and the leadership aspects of the work. So it's a great place, as it were, to be a human being within manufacturing.
I suppose in a way is
that it's a subject we're not attracting at the moment.
As Ron was saying, it comes back to some of your core values, core principles, is that passion, that resilience, that grit, determination. We can train. It's a skill set. As long as they've got these life skills, perhaps that might be the way to go. I mean, the question, I'm going to come to Mark now, and I've dropped this one on him, and he knows I like dropping a grenade in, but where do we start then? Because I mean, I know you got involved with the colleges when you were at UGM and running that business. Where do we start, or where can manufacturers start? Where should manufacturers start?
Okay, so to attract a new member of the team, you've got to advertise a job, yeah? So how do we make a job sound sexy when it's pushing a button on a machine for an 8-hour shift? That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But if you say that it's involving quality control and using robotics in the process of manufacturing, that makes it sound a little bit more sexy. We need to make our industry sound sexy to attract the people. But then also, when you've attracted them into the business, it's finding the right ones and developing them as well as individuals. You can have someone who's rubbish at pressing a button on a machine for 8 hours a day, but has a real interest in the tooling side of the business, for example. And unless you nurture those individuals, get to know them, you won't develop them. If you just think, right, they're rubbish at pressing that button on the machine, we'll sack them and find someone else, without asking, why aren't you any good at this? Why don't you enjoy it? What do you enjoy? I know that the majority of the people I employed in the past are no longer in that position. They went to other parts of the business because they needed a job. The minimum wage is what they had, but they had so much more to offer. But without nurturing that, we weren't to know. So, yeah, making it sound sexy and attractive. as everyone else has said, we make stuff in this country. I used to love driving around the country seeing stuff that I made in a factory in Newton Abbot all over the place. I was proud. I was proud of what we did. So yeah, making it sound sexy, but then getting those people and nurturing them and really bring them on board, pulling out of them their hidden skills that maybe didn't come over at the interview stage. That's my theory anyway.
Lee, I mean, I was sat here thinking there from obviously because Angela's, with what we've been talking around and discussing around in the manufacturing TV with Nick's side on Thursday, giving him a plug there. I did want to try and give him a plug. It sparked you off into that. But you've got the character, you've got that passion, you've got that drive. Is that something, again, do we need to sort of like be focused in on some of the senior managers level in highlighting these people like yourselves, like Ram, Steve, Mark, the rest of us, Angela, around what we're trying to do and bringing them together and saying, well, how do we form this best in class and get it across there? Because not all manufacturers are going to be there with it. And does that matter? I don't know.
That's a tricky one. People that know me know that I'm passionate about it, but again, stemming from what Steve was saying there, I took massive influence from the Cubs and the Scouts, and more importantly, my grandfather, who used to give me little snippets of a euphemism that I didn't understand at the time. And it wasn't until I got older that I worked things out. But his main one that always resonates with me is, son, just be the best you can be at everything you do. Whether it's kissing your girlfriend, making your bed, cooking the dinner, do it properly, or don't bother, have a day off. If you're not going to do something properly, don't waste your effort. So find something that you like to do. And because I do take pride, like Mark was saying, I can remember when my children were smaller, literally saying, your dad made that part on that Williams F1 car. Your dad made this trimming jig for the Typhoon Eurofighter. I am proud of it. When I was a toolmaker, stamping your name, made by Lee Howarth in 1987 or whenever it was in 1990. But it's about taking pride, and more importantly, in yourself. So I think I only became successful when I started really loving myself. And then I started loving other things and other people, and in that respect, and just treat people and things like you would like to be treated, and don't be afraid to ask questions, and coming back into it. And like Ram and Steve was saying there, engineering, I'm an apprentice. I could have gone into tooling, I could have gone into marketing, I could have gone into, I've got into sales. There's all sorts of different things, from making a packet of crisps to designing the lorry that carries those packets of crisps. And as we are evolving and time goes on, looking at the industrial revolution, we're in the forefront now, connectivity of all things digital. Now, there's programs available where I can have, if my machine stops, it comes on the phone. But we need more young people now to develop more of these kind of apps. So it's not just about making things, it's all about everything in between the making of things as well. So when I want to have an open day just about us, I wanted it to be about everything. So young people can see the marketing person. So Sam Bainham from Conex Portals on board, he wants to come. I got Hexagon Software, I've got BMG Mori Machine Tools, I've got Cutting Tool Company. They're all on board. And half of me is thinking, oh my God, what have I done? I've created a shitload of work for myself. But the other half is jumping up and down over the moon and is really excited. So we just all need to get off our asses, do something instead of moaning about it. And if it wasn't for Angela, I wouldn't have done it. If it wasn't for you, Adam, right, brilliant, let's take this internship thing on further. So we all have to inspire me. And this only came about because we're all talking. So it's that motivation and trying to find out the where, the what, the why, the when, and the how. What can I do? And if anybody's listening and they want feel free to email me, get in touch, whatever you want to do. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with anybody about engineering. And if you've got a young person out there and you want to be a modern factory, give me a call. I'll show you around for 20 minutes. Not a problem.
Absolutely. Angela, I know subconsciously we haven't come to you for a little while. So,
yeah, I was going to say, actually, I mean, sort of thinking, you know, as we're talking about the problems with manufacturers not really getting out there, not putting themselves out there, not showing that they're thinking back to years ago, you know, Nana and Nick did an article on this. You'd have a manufacturer at the end of your street. The manufacturers were in your community, your mum and dad might work there, you were going to go and work there, you know. So they were ever visible. I know there were manufacturers not far from where I lived, and they had a social club that we used to go to on a Friday evening, you know. So manufacturers were visible. Now they've moved out of town. They're on large industrial estates with very little public transport access. So the first issue you've got is you haven't got visibility of that manufacturer in your community. If you want young people to go and work for you, it's a real issue for them to actually get to your site because they're not yet driving. And I think the other thing that we've really lost that has stopped encouraging young people to look at manufacturing is dads tinkering in their sheds. I mean, we're a disposable society these days. We buy something, we throw it away. We buy it, we throw it away. In the old days, you couldn't afford to throw it away. You had to sit and try and fix it. And your kids would sit with you because they'd be interested in watching you trying to solder a wire back onto something, you know. Dads don't do that anymore. And I think, again, so it's not cultivating that interest in making things.
Yeah, it is a difficult one because, you know, as you got me thinking there and around when I started off with my apprenticeship, my dad was a chartered engineer. We lived in Africa. I was brought up in Africa. You know, he was engineering within the mines out there. I'd been round the mines, whether I should have been at that age, you know, in an open top Land Rover with my dad and my brother, you know. So I'd seen these massive smelting furnaces, and the pouring of the ore and stuff like that. It's melted down, and you know, so I was fascinated seeing all these sparks fly off there, having copper, you know, the droplets of copper, and you know, being handed one, you know. So I'd seen that, so it automatically, and of course, my dad was in it. You know, we do need to get into a bit more of that. Rami, I know you got your hand up there.
Yeah, a couple of things, Adam. As an extension to what you said about traveling mines, I mean, growing up in India, my dad used to work for the Steel Authority of India, the government's state-owned steel enterprise, and he was in a factory. And from the school, we were taken to the factory to see how steel was made. And my dad used to walk me around the factory. Again, should I have been walking around there? But I've seen how steel is made. I've seen the whole process, the blast furnace and everything. Secondly, this is something a lot of people, some of the people who are listening to it may not like. Let's talk about the surrounding environment or the surrounding ecosystem in which we manufacturers operate. I'm talking about membership organizations. I'm talking about trade delegations. I'm talking about the chambers of commerce. How many of them are actively promoting some of the little manufacturers that are here? Do they not see us part of their ecosystem? Or are we just too small because we don't pay them enough money to showcase us primarily? What I'm saying is, do not just talk about UK PLC or UK University. Unless you start talking about UK Private Limited, you're not going to do any difference, because UK Private Limited props up UK PLC and UK University. How many of them are talking about UK Private Limited? Not many people. And I know some of them are not going to like it. That's okay, but that's the fact.
Yeah, I don't give a flying. I nearly swore there, Lee, whether they like it or not, because the actual fact is the bloody truth. They do jack shit, in my opinion, and they need to get their asses into gear and move it forward. And excuse my swearing, I know we are in the day and they're not watershed, but it does drive me up the wall, the point of fact that they don't promote that side of things. You know, and I know we've said it enough around the government and the scrapping of the industrial strategy and and that side, they need a rocket up their backsides on this one, really truly. So, I'm conscious of the time, I'm conscious of how long we've talked. So, again, coming back to Angela's and coming back to the sort of like ending question is, Angela, do you want to talk around the virtual intern, around what you're trying to do in the UK festivals, and then go into how UK SMEs can get involved with that?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, really appreciate that. So initially, I set up the UK Manufacturing Festivals group on LinkedIn. This was after talking to the people who run. There are 3 UK manufacturing festivals at the moment, and that's in Bradford, Leeds and Plymouth. And after talking to the organisers of those festivals, it made me sort of think, well, why aren't we having more manufacturing festivals? They're a great idea. So I set up the LinkedIn group, and the aim of the group is that I am extracting as much information as possible from those 3 organisers to try and build a knowledge base, so that if there are other manufacturers around the UK who are interested in doing a festival in their area, I've got knowledge from their minds that I can pass on to you to help you with your organisation. And those 3 organisers themselves have also said that they're quite happy to answer questions, to help out. They don't want to be part of the festival. They don't want to sit on any boards, but they're quite happy to answer questions and to help out with knowledge where required. So that's sort of where I'm coming from with that. It's just trying to build a knowledge base so that the manufacturers have got a toolkit, instead of trying to start from scratch and wonder, well, who do I need to contact and what do I need to do? From that, we had a presentation by the lovely Alison Giddens, who's got, she's a manufacturer over in the USA, and she ran a virtual intern initiative in the States last year, which was really well received, and which Ron was a speaker on that. And we were all blown away when we heard about what she'd done. So Adam very kindly got in touch with her to ask her, would she share with us how she'd put it together? So Adam and I and Bob Gibbon have been looking at how we can put this together and push it out into the schools and colleges within the UK. And this will be over a 2-week period, and it involves in all areas of manufacturing and manufacturers just spending an hour out of that 2 weeks to talk about an area of manufacturing. So it could be that you're a manufacturer who's got a really good health and safety guy who talks really well, and you'd like him to come and be part of that virtual internship and talk for an hour to the kids about health and safety, how they can get into that, how it works as a career, and what exams they might need to get into that career. And this is how we're hoping to roll it out and how it will look in the future. But obviously we just want anybody from around the UK who's interested to get in touch with us so that we can put this together, and hopefully from the internship and getting that initial engagement with the kids, they will then go on to the manufacturing festivals because they'll be interested, because they'll know a bit more about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is around. So just to expand on what Angela was saying there is that we've got this intern program around how we've got not just about manufacturing, but as she was saying, it is that you might have Lee come in and look at business development, Steve look at continuous improvement, Ron product development and design and into that, Mark general management, and Angela process improvement, things like that, and how it all interconnects and all interlinks. So you see the picture around what manufacturing is, not just sort of like, the making of the product and making of the part. It's how everything is integrated into it. So the question I'm going to ask, because I've put the link to the group in the comments on this chat. For all those interested, are you okay with them, if they're interested in what the intern program is about, are you okay with them joining that program and commenting in that and getting involved in that group?
Absolutely. Yeah, would love to hear from some more manufacturers. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is that the more that we can do, even if, you know, like Lee and how Lee's gone on and doing what he's doing, is if we talk about it and put it into that group, people can pick up the blueprint, talk with Lee, and we need to get that message out. I'm conscious that we're 40 minutes, and I know that we're beginning to get to that point where we start losing people. So anybody want to round up anything? Thank you, you know, for joining us on this chat, giving Andrew support and hearing the great stuff that you're all doing. Anything that anybody wants to finish off with or feels though they've missed?
I would like to just encourage more young people out there as well, not just the manufacturing side, it's also the politics side. So if you're a Bob Geldof up wannabe that and can swear like a trooper and be disruptive, get on your ass and start firing a few fudges and triggers into the powers that be to come off their backsides to start doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. Definitely disruptive.